I say hohoile, 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 hohoile. Yes. Lord, I'm so apologies. I'm so sorry.
Really close.
Guy guilo, le lomo.
食飯。今日我哋嚟一個文化衝擊。
Yeah, I met Carol where I was working. I was working for the Red Cross, and I met a bunch of different people from different stripes, quote-unquote refugees. And Carol was a political refugee. She had to flee her homeland to come to the UK for political reasons. And I met her through the work I was doing. And I'd be lying if I said that wasn't something we bonded over.
咁我咧就係第一份工就返工就識佢啦，跟住咧嗰時第一日返工，我仲同啲朋友講話好開心啊喺度返工，我想要一世都喺度返工啊，真係好好玩啊，好開心！即係我係覺得同你一齊返工好開心嘅，大家都研究嗰個音樂啦，跟住咁啱我有張 Rubberband 嘅飛唔使錢，跟住我就叫佢去。即係問下不過係廣東話咧，問佢 O 唔 OK 咁，我俾咗啲 Rubberband 嘅歌佢聽，跟住佢話哇好正喎，話個 energy 好好，跟住就佢話好想去咁，因為唔使錢啊嘛。係啦，
係佢哋撮合咗你哋啊？
應該係送飛俾我嘅人撮合咗我哋咯。
What was the first impression on Carol?
Outgoing, bubbly, very well spoken, just full of life. Just happy in any circumstance. I was, amazed by that. Really, she seems to sort of like have a different tempo to the rest of London. She sort of lives off her own rhythm, and that really sort of stuck out to me more than anything.
OK， 佢都係一個幾好嘅人嚟嘅，佢又肯學啦，肯改啊，肯幾聽話，我覺得呢個細佬。
Hello.
Hi.
We are in Hastings. She's kind of a constant ray of sunshine, regardless of anything going on. Once she told me about her circumstances while she came to the UK, I was in awe, because if I was to be displaced from where I was, removed from my ancestral homeland and had to flee to another country, I'd be distraught, I'd be panicked, I'd be terrified, but Carol seems kind of immune to that, just constantly just happy and outgoing and so caring. And it was that kind of made me fall in love with her. Carol was the first time I came in contact with a true Hong Konger. I was aware of the struggles going along through Twitter, through the BBC, through The Guardian. I was aware of the situation happening, but Carol was the first time I came firsthand with the consequences of what that actually means for people. It was stark and quite scary, really. I was quite blind to it.
How did she describe her situation to you?
She described it as one of necessity. She's living in London because she has to. She's living in London because the state deems her a deviant, an enemy, as someone that is going against the will of the CCP. England, London especially, has a issue of just sort of letting things happen. The turmoil going through, the cost of living crisis, the global crisis of global warming as a whole. London, being an affluent city, kind of lets things slide, lets things be. So to meet someone who was, for lack of a better word, a true revolutionary, I was very surprised and very humbled by it. Made me feel I don't know, a bit more hopeful, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Carol's full of hope. It's a very hopeful situation, and it's something that, you know, is inspiring me with, you know, who I am and how I wish to go forward. Yeah, no, I have learned a lot from her. I've learned what it means to live by your principles. I've learned what it means to be really strong in your convictions, and I feel like every day I am learning. It's cool, constant growth. That's what I feel like when I'm with Carol. It's really cool.
係我每日都教佢嘢，學到英文咯。
因為佢可能讀哲學啦，
係
佢諗嘢其實係即係比起可能童年係比較成熟一啲。你覺得喺佢嘅思想上面，你有冇嗰啲學習？哦，
佢成日都同我講啲嘢英國歷史啊，或者世界歷史，因為我就唔係好識歷史嘅，所以都學到好多嘅，會聽佢講經咯。
You've been in this relationship with her in months.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find any challenges, or which part is the most challenging to you?
I would say probably the language barrier. Not to say that we can't communicate. You know, she can speak English and so can I, but I do feel very guilty in the sense that I can't share in her language. I don't speak Cantonese, sadly, and I always feel guilty in the fact that I'm making her speak English. I'm also trying to learn a little bit of Cantonese as well. We're getting there. But
I know you can speak a little bit Cantonese, right?
Yeah.
Like
多謝 and 唔該 and a few dirtier things. But,
No worries. Just speak it.
oh yeah. Well, obviously I know Pokai Guailo, which means I love you very much. Diule Lomo, which is your hair looks beautiful today. I'm managing a bar at the moment, and it's in a very white area. And when people leave for the evening, I like to say Diule Lomo like that, and I go, "Oh, thank you, you too. Very nice, very nice." It's very cool. It's she's very playful in that regard, which is something that I would say that the English typically aren't. We're a bit more buttoned down. I feel like the English language and how people, native English speakers, express the language is a little more poetic, I suppose. We speak with a lot of different turns of phrases, a lot of different sort of colourful language. I had to explain to Carol the term "another day, another dollar" today. That was an alien idea. She had no idea what that meant.
大家互相學習咯，係即係譬如我英文我唔係講得好好咁樣，我咪叫佢教我啊，咁佢又叫我教佢廣東話咁樣，大家其實呢啲都係一個樂趣嚟嘅，我覺得。
Her willingness to learn is admirable. It's impressive. It's incredible. And because of that willingness, because of that wanting to share and grow, I'm too happy to myself impart and like evolve, and it's very cool.
Noodle It's delicious. Hold on a minute. Cheers.
Is it too spicy?
Perfect.
And I do feel like we do come from two very different cultural backgrounds, in the sense that living in London, I feel like I'm a bit more spiritually liberal, and her being from Hong Kong, she's a little more, not rigid in her ways, but a bit more sure of things. And I feel like that sort of like affects little things in our day-to-day. Cleanliness being a big thing. I'm a bit more slovenly and European in that regard.
佢個人比較亂啲咯，我諗好耐啦。即係我覺得香港人都有潔癖嘅大部分，即係我哋都算整齊啊，同埋又經歷過沙士啊，經歷過Covid 咧，大家都好乾淨，好注重衞生嘅。咁佢哋係好隨便嘅，即係譬如倒奶都到周地都係，佢講冇問題啊，食薯片食到 地下有碎咁冇問題，但係我係即係有少少碎都覺得要抹嘅人咯。咁呢啲不過但係佢有改進嘅，即係我話咗好多次，佢係嗰啲除咗衫就成地都係就由佢啊，聽朝咪喺個地下度攞翻條褲出嚟咯。
革面嘅原因其實唔係因為愛，
因為搞到周圍都係啊，激死我啊！你打佢啊！哇咁厚嘅呢個。
多謝。
多謝。
Is there any fights or conflicts between you guys in these months?
Yeah, I'm a little lazy. I do like to sleep in, I will say, and she does like to stick to a schedule, which I abhor. I'm not a huge fan of up the same hour every day, going to bed the same hour. I'm a little bit, lackadaisical. I sort of flow a little bit.
人人都懶㗎啦，我都懶嘅其實係咯，但係可以做多少少咯，我覺得。我成日都同佢講點解可以喺有危機之前可以準備即係預備好啲，我覺得我哋就係諗多少少就已經做好咗件事啦。
And she's also a little bit older than me. She's a bit more secure in herself. I'm sort of in a state of transition, finding myself, and Carol is very much sure of who she is. I feel the biggest challenge is me sort of like discovering myself as a young man moving forward, and her having to kind of put up with that.
我唔想好似我年紀大要教個仔咁樣講呢啲人生經歷俾佢聽，我又唔想，但係都忍唔住要講呢啲。譬如我經歷過點樣一步一步可以爬到上去嘅時候，唔係嘣一聲可以上到去噶嘛，即係中間仲要經歷好多挑戰啊！你係咪可以克服到，係咪可以堅持到呢啲問題咯
？The cool thing about Carol is that she's very communicative. I feel like we sort of like have two different conclusions, but through conversation and us growing and living together, we're kind of sort of moving to a central point. You find yourself no longer living for yourself. You now, every decision you make, everything going forward, you have to consider another soul, forcing me to think about things a few more, steps and things.
我好開頭已經同我講話，佢想搬嚟倫敦。我估係因為覺得個倫敦個生活指數太高。
I wish to leave London something a bit more tranquil, but I now at this stage would feel it'd be unfair to remove Carol from a city where she's got her ties to the space. For her to then move to a completely different city is 1,000 more challenges that I would have to face.
喺香港生活開，我覺得如果遠離咗倫敦咧，會未必適應到，即係喺個town度可能好悶。我想出去又好難咁，即係可能要搭個幾兩個鐘頭車，好難先出到倫敦。我有同佢講話，可能老啲咪搬遠啲咯，但係而家佢應該喺倫敦揾啲嘢做啊，揾多啲錢先再打算搬遠啲咯。
Do you think this relationship can last long?
Ooh. Long-term relationships is not something that I've really thought about before. But it was only meeting someone like Carol, someone who genuinely impresses me every single day, someone who both humbles me and celebrates me in equal measure, that I really think that I need an influence like Carol in my life. This isn't just a fleeting thing. I really genuinely believe that I'm growing as a person with her being in my, sphere of influence. And narcissistically, I like to believe in some way that she's growing as well, with me being with her. We sort of help feed into each other.
而家好似多咗個可以喺度 settle 咁樣嘅，多咗個人咁樣咯，類似。
你喺度落地生根啊！
本身諗住而家可以再紮根啲。
I'm a bit hot-headed, and she's very soft and in control, so I need that.
係而家開始有少少計劃啦，我覺得係咪？之前應該冇乜嘅，我聽佢講以前嘅生活都應該係比較荒唐咁樣啦。
I'm going back to school, I'm retraining and I'm restudying. Not for her, but for a future with her in mind. I was a bit more content to be in the position I was, but the position I was just sort of floating between work whilst I was, working on creative projects. It's a very selfish pursuit. That would benefit me, but you can't build a family or a life for that. So I wish to sort of build something for the pair of us. Every decision I make going forward, she is 100% a factor.
都冇啊，我諗住我老咗佢可以照顧我咯，話晒後生啲。
A small little home we could call our own, a garden maybe, something where we can cultivate, somewhere free of stress, where there is no, we don't have to worry about, bills coming out or rent we have to pay. Something that we can just do, that is just sort of like something in the back of our mind, so we can really enjoy each other's company. I wish to take her out and help her explore the rest of the city, and I wish to her to take me back to her home, and I want to see the rest of where she's from.
Do you find any cultural difference between Hong Kong culture and British culture when you guys interact?
I would say people from Hong Kong are a bit more insular, if that makes sense. They wish to interact with their own. Like many expat communities, I feel like they find safety and security with their own group. Whereas myself, growing in a multicultural city, I am so eager to have a conversation with anyone around me. I'm living in Brixton at the moment. It's a very multicultural area, many different stripes and shades, which I feel like people from Hong Kong will have not seen before. It's a huge Caribbean culture, a huge Italian culture, and I feel like those elements, if you don't mind me saying, I feel like people from Hong Kong are a little less outgoing than other members of the world stage. And I can understand from an outsider how these things can be quite intimidating. Street parties and collective conversations at a bar, for example. I can see, especially with a language barrier, I can see why you'd find these things intimidating. And I'm now learning to respect that in Carol. If I was to say one thing to people from Hong Kong to come to London, I understand anxiety in that regard of connectedness, especially sharing it with a foreign culture, not even necessarily an English culture, London being a melting pot. That guarded nature of just sort of, protecting yourself. But London especially, there are so many people desperate for connection and sharing. We're an atomized culture, and anyone that does express appreciation for you or love in some regard, no, it's not an insult, and no, it's not part of any commitment on your part. It's just an individual expressing forward.
Uh, 80分啦，好高分㗎啦，就係咁啦。快高長大啦，加油努力咯。
Thank you for being a part of my life. I am the tide and you are the cliff face, and we come together to make a nice soft beachhead. I feel like you help shape me into be the person I wish to be, and by becoming that I feel like I'm helping you shape the person you wish to be. It's wonderful and it's brilliant, and I'm just so happy to be a part of your life, and hopefully you're happy to be a part of mine. And yeah, I wish to grow and evolve with you. It's going to be a fantastic journey, and this is just the first step, so I'm so excited for our future and already nostalgic for our past, and I love you.